Welcome y'all. It is your boy Vandal. We are in here in the studio, and this week, this is the third week of our 4-part series of walking through my dancehall remix of Rachael Bawn's Alive. Be sure to check out the link in the description to check out the original track and the remix. Vandal. Welcome y'all, it's your boy Vandal. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we bring you tutorials and tips to help you become a better producer. And hey, who doesn't want to know how songs are made? So I've got a ton of videos on how I've made my songs. Just a little background on me. I have been supported by Skrillex, I've been supported by Party Favor, by Jack U, Venture Club, Lumberjack. I've also been supported by Nest HQ, EDM.com. I've had remixes. I've done remixes for Lumberjack. And I've also got a couple of releases coming out on Lumberjack's label and a bunch of other labels too. So you want to stay tuned for that. Also, I got some vlog videos on here that you can kind of like get to know me too. So I just do kind of like fun stuff on there. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Let's talk about the walkthrough. And this section, we're going to talk about the vocals and some of the elements in the drop and the melody. So, let's just go right into it, and let's just, like, peep the vocal, right? So, vocal, like, in this track, like, the vocal was, like, and then in every track, if you have, like, a vocal that has verses and choruses, and, like, the vocal should be treated as, like, the most important element of the track, because that's what's going to drive the track. That's what's going to be the remembering factor of the track. So, for this one, Rachael wanted me to keep her vocals intact. So what I did was I just did a little bit of slight, I brightened them up a little bit so it can fit in my mix the way I mix. And then I added a layer of her vocal that's lower, and I believe I have a higher vocal. So let's just listen to the stem that I have here. Someone who cares, wanna live my life out. Wanna take the dare. So they sent it to me already with like a double with some slap delay on there, with a little bit of reverb too. But for dance music, you always got to have those really long reverbs and super washy and a lot of stuff like that. So I have it going to these two channels here. Someone who cares. Wanna live my life out, wanna take the dare. Gonna be in the moment and take it slow. Gotta get a little crazy, learn to let it go. I'm alive, electric like a wire. So that's the vocal, Let's actually listen to it with the rest of the track real quick. Someone who cares. So it's pretty cool. I really like the vocal. I loved the way she sang it. I loved the lyrics. It's really awesome. So we're going to talk about like the processing on the actual main vocal. It was not too much. I just have an EQ, and then I just have the Noveltech vocal enhancer. Let's actually listen to it without the vocal enhancer. Let me just unmute these channels. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy. It's like weird. So let's listen to this without the EQ and stuff on it. So it's just electric like a wire. I'm a firefly. So it sounds good. Like they recorded it like amazingly. They do a great job recording. Like I didn't have to do too much. So, and also I have like it's got the delays and stuff already in there, so I don't have to do too much as far as that. But I did want to cut out the low end. Electric like a wire. I'm a firefly. It wasn't really conflicting with anything. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have any low end that I didn't need in the track. So then I added the vocal enhancer. So it just brings her like breathiness up. It brings her up front, makes it brighter, brings it higher in the frequency range for me. So it just fits better, because it also has got a little bit of compression going on. It just fits better with in the mix that I have here. And then this next one is just basically the same thing. Just pitch down. Just add a little bit more weight to the bottom. Because I did want to have, it's always good if you have an octave lower or an octave higher, or both. It's always good. It makes the vocals sound big. It's kind of a technique that Chainsmokers use a lot, which is really, really dope. If you check out their stuff, they talk about that too. So, along with that, I had this. I promised you guys that I would talk about this vocal melody, and the melody actually that I have for the steel drums and the drop is me going in there and going ba bum bum ba bum ba bum bum bum, right? And I'm not that great of a singer, so I did the best I could, and then I lined it up with I did quantizing and all that stuff and lined it up on the grid, and then I threw it in there, and this is what it sounds like. So I did do some processing before I have this processing on there, which is pitching it up, and then I have the pitch correction just to keep it in key. So you can hear some notes are off. I didn't want to go in and use the flex pitch because it didn't sound good, so I just used the auto-tune. So that's the sound of my booth actually pitched up if you want to hear it. Then we added the Camel Crusher, which brought it up front. Which added a little bit of grit to it and then brought it up front because there's a limiter on here. And then we added the reverb. This is more for effects purposes. Then the LFO tool to get it to bounce. Get your head bobbing. And then I have this to brighten it up. And then I have the Endless Smile, my favorite plugin from Data Life, for a build. Hilarious. Really cool. I love that plugin. And then this is obviously going to some sends. And that's the main melody. So then in the drop, I have it like this. Which is a little bit processed a little bit more prominently. And then I also have, in this first one, I don't have any of the steel drums. But just for arrangement's sake, in the next ones, I have the steel drums in there. So let's listen to what that sounds like in the mix. So the chords were really like the main part here, but then in the next couple of drops, that melody comes out a bit more. Also, really cool thing that I did with kind of a vocal thing is this Kashmir sample that I pitched up and down and stuff. It definitely needs to be in there, and which is a great thing. It's a great thing. I love that loop. And then that's it. The vocals are pretty simple because there's not much I needed to do because Rachael and her team did a great job recording the vocals. in the second and third drop, I have a chop of the vocal because they were like, yo, can you utilize it in the drop? I said, yeah, sure. So this is just a typical like sidechain EDM vocal that I decided to use in this drop. And you can hear the steel drums are in there and my vocal is in there, but hers is kind of like the main thing. So in each section, in most pop arrangements, tracks kind of build and get into this big, like, you know, end in this big main element thing where everything is in at once. So that's what I kind of adopted in this, and I added a new melody also in the final drop, which is just a loop that just fit, so I just grabbed it and threw it in there. But as you can see, I also changed the rhythm of the vocals. Remember what I was talking about before in the last video? I was talking about how using different elements rhythmically could also add a good element to your tracks, a new different like sound. So you can see like that's like kind of like adding more of a groove to the track, but it's the vocal. And that's pretty much it, guys. So the vocals section and everything was, and the melodies are pretty simple, like nothing too crazy. As far as musicality goes, I mean, it's really simple. And I didn't really overthink this one. A lot of the times the best tracks come when you just kind of feel the vibe. And that's what happened with this track. So till next time, the next video we'll talk about the effects and the arrangement a little bit more. And then that'll be the final video. And then you'll have the full overview of how I did this track and how I approached it. But if you're new here, again, consider subscribing so you can get more of these updates. Hit that bell button so you can stay updated. And then also, if you check the links in the description, you can get this song, the original song. You can get the remix if it's out yet. I'm not actually sure. When I'm making this video, it's not out yet. And then also, you can check the links to the affiliate links in there. If you buy anything through those links, the channel will get some money from those purchases, and it would definitely help the channel and help me out greatly. So, till next time, catch you next week. Peace. Yeah.